Hey, what's happening, fellas? We're going to do members only as public today and condense everything into one NBA video with NFL, MLB, Draftkings overlay going on. It just comes down to a matter of time. I'm trying to homeschool kids over here. I'm sure a lot of you guys out there and parents and fully understand that, like, when they're schooling at home like this, it just kind of sucks. I mean, I know I'm not alone right there.
I do not envy you.
No, I don't think most of you do, and I'm like I said, I know there's a lot of you guys out there in the exact same spot. So I'm far from doing this alone, but it just kind of blows.
Yeah, it does.
All right, guys, we dropped our overlay matchup shop information earlier. I encourage you guys to go watch it. There's a couple of pictures we really liked on this slate a lot. Having a lot of fun with this, and we're going to continue to talk about it a lot. It is a new part of overlay. If you haven't played on overlay yet and you go make an initial deposit, send me a screenshot of your deposit so I can hook you up with a free membership to our website.
Yeah, I'm excited to do the NFL one with you two coming up, like for this weekend.
Rock and roll, babe, boys and girls. As far as this game tonight goes, I'm assuming you think the Lakers win.
It's interesting. I think the Nuggets got a real shot, man. Nuggets easily up 2-1 here. So I do think the Lakers win, but can't count the Nuggets out at this point.
No, you can't. I love the Nuggets, and you know that I'm usually rooting for LeBron's team in the playoffs. This might be the first time I've ever really rooted against them, and it's just because I like this Nuggets team and I like what they're made of. And it's kind of a fun year. Like nobody would have pictured Miami being in the finals, or now they're up 3 games to 1. You know, it's a little nichey, but it would be kind of fun to see the Nuggets take on the Heat. And the other side of that is it makes my boy Giannis look a lot better if LeBron and Kawhi also get bounced before going to the finals.
Yeah, this is very, very true. We'll see. I think it's obviously a major swing game in the series, as they all are.
No doubt about it. So one of the first places I'm looking at is it is a little bit of recency bias, but he's played well in all 3 games this series is Monty Morris. With my desire to roster the studs on the slate, I think he's a pretty safe place for cap space. You know, you can go back to the Clippers series. He plays his role every single game. The same goes for the Utah series. Like, don't expect major upside right here. You know, this is definitely one of the better games that he's had. But as far as cap space goes, in order to afford the LeBrons, ADs, and Jokic's of the world, he's somebody I feel comfortable with.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
JaVale McGee, I mean, he just doesn't play enough minutes. He's not out there much, so it's not where I'm going to end up. I thought Howard would be a bigger factor in the series than he has been. Um, I don't hate the idea of going here, but I got lucky when I recommended playing him game 1 that he happened to have 2 blocks and steals because he just has not been a factor in this series. I'm kind of surprised they're not giving him a little bit more run, but they're letting AD get after him.
I am surprised, especially after he played really good in game 1, 13 points as well. Impossible to trust.
All right, so if you had a gun to head tonight, and I know the answer is probably you want to play both of them, would you go with LeBron James or Anthony Davis?
LeBron James.
LeBron James. Any reason
Yeah.
how come?
Yeah, for me, like anytime I feel like his team is off a loss in the playoffs, it's almost like your Giannis point in the regular season. That's when you really see LeBron James at his finest. I love him tonight.
I'm mostly with you. The other argument I would make is coming off of that game-winning shot and watching the media just fawn over Anthony Davis like they've always been doing. I've heard very harsh criticisms for a 6'10" and a half foot guy to get 2 rebounds in this game. So I also expect aggressive Anthony Davis. I expect both stars from the Los Angeles Lakers to be, you know, in full aggression mode tonight, coming off that loss. And I kind of want to find a way to get them both on my roster.
That makes sense, man. I mean, they're both obviously 2 of the top 3 players on the slate, at least.
Yeah, Jamal Murray was excellent last game. Y'all know I'm a huge Murray fan. He was phenomenal. I think he's going to be the odd man out for me. I'd rather play Jokic, and if there's a way that I can play all these guys together, I don't know that there is, because we're really just getting into this for the first time. No, there's not going to be.
Nah, I don't think there is.
You're probably going to have to make your options and your decisions right there. So maybe Jokic is the odd man out for me tonight. What are you thinking as far as 2 studs go?
Yeah, as far as, 2 of the 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then, are you already counting out Murray?
Yeah, I don't think I'll get to Murray today. I'm a big Murray fan, and he was awesome in game 3, but I don't think I'm going to find a way to get up to him today.
I do kind of have game 1 vibes in this game where, like, I think the Lakers could roll. I do kind of have interest in Michael Porter.
I knew you were going to say that as soon as you mentioned game 1. I'm kind of the same mindset when it comes to Michael Porter Jr., and we can all have different opinions about how this game plays out. He is best served when Denver falls behind and has to say, screw defense, I need offense, because he's that weapon they have off the bench. So if you get game 1 vibes like Matt sounds like he's getting, then I think Michael Porter Jr. is a guy who gives you legit upside in this spot.
Yes, agreed. He's my favorite piece of. I could see running just him from Denver, like him and Monte Morris.
Yeah, again, guys, I want to apologize for the poor internet connection today. This is a byproduct of me having 2 kids trying to homeschool at home. I apologize. It's annoying. I don't like it, but it is what it is for right now. A couple of guys I liked last game who were very poor were Alex Caruso. His worst game of the series, shot 1 of 7 from the field, and took a Paul George-like shot, only from a little bit closer, so it might have even been more pathetic as far as right back to him today, though. Assuming that he plays, says he has right wrist soreness. I'm going to assume he's out there, but watch for that one.
Yeah, I'm going to assume too. I assume like all these guys are going to play unless we have real reason to think they aren't. Yeah, for the Lakers, it's always about like AD and LeBron. I also kind of like Rondo.
I like Rondo too. I always like Rondo. He's kind of pricey for what he offers right now, though.
Yes, he definitely is pricey right now.
So I don't think that I'll get up there in any kind of mid-tier build personally. I'm a big Rondo fan, but I think I'm going to end up on the KCPs, the Danny Greens, the Carusos of the world. Monty Morris and Nikola Jokic are my Denver guys. Coming off of a huge game, you saw Jeremy Grant was awesome last game out. Let's call that an aberration, though, right? Like, he doesn't score that well most of the time. That's the best game we've seen him with a really long time. And I'm not just looking to hop on the recency bias for somebody who hasn't even been close to that in any other game in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely an aberration. A big reason why they, kind of rolled in that game. It got close in the end, but they rolled. They were up handily, at half in the third quarter, and he was one of the best players for Denver.
He took 12 free throws last game. You have to add up the previous 6 games before that for him to total 12 free throws. So that's an aberration. That's not what typically happens. I don't think Jeremy Grant discovered something inside. I don't think the Lakers don't have a way to shut this down. Let's just call it a really good game for a solid player that's not likely to be replicated today.
Agreed.
So Millsap is a guy that I just have zero interest in personally.
Same.
He has turned into be one of the more uninspiring DFS plays that there is out there.
Yeah, it's kind of sad.
I think due to recency bias, you get Gary Harris at very low ownership today. But it's hard to be encouraged by anything you've seen out of him this series. 4 total rebounds, 4 total assists, not a single block or steal, and has scored 15 points through 3 games. Is he capable of being better than this? Absolutely. Are you getting him at a discount today? Absolutely. Can I get on board with playing him? Sure, but I'm very uninspiring by him right now.
Yeah, give me Monte Morris over him.
The only thing I'll say is, like, he's really cheap for who he is right now. So if you feel like this could be his bust-out game, I understand it. It is just really hard to put him in my roster right now.
I feel like he's also a guy, like, for me personally, I got to think, if I'm playing Gary Harris, I think Denver plays well here.
Yeah, for sure, because he could be a big part of that.
And like Jokic and Murray.
So I can assume you probably want to try to captain LeBron tonight.
Yeah, I'd love to.
All right, so then you can take a look at like an AD or a Jokic. I'm probably looking for both Lakers studs, but I can't fault anybody for going Jokic over AD. And then at this point, I go grab myself some Monty Morris, get him into my roster. Then I'm working with 5,200 per offensive guy. And I start looking at the KCPs, Danny Green. And I mean, this might be a spot where eventually I get up to a Jeremy Grant that I'm not excited about, or a Paul Millsap, or I might play around a little bit more. I think the big thing you have to look at here is Michael Porter. How do you think this game works out tonight? If you took Danny Green out and went with Caruso, you still can't quite get to Porter. That's where Gary Harris may come in play. Because even though I don't love him, it could get me up to Michael Porter, who I still like better than Jeremy Grant, despite last game.
Yes, he is in play, definitely in this scenario for sure. I mean, I don't hate this lineup at all. It's like your last guy in on a showdown slate. it's hard to argue with a 4,200 Gary Harris. I mean, even if Denver gets rolled, he could still get value here at this price.
Definitely, if he can make some threes. So, total side note, I don't know how close you were watching the basketball game last night, but both of my overlay bets and my DraftKings lineup were both literally sitting on the line. Like I told you, I took Kemba over Thies. Kemba was winning at the last minute until Thies got a rebound with a couple of seconds left to go up by 0.25. Meanwhile, Tatum beat out Jaylen Brown by 1 point, and that was back and forth. And my DraftKings lineup was literally tied with like a third of the field, it felt like. And the last minute Hayward bucket put it from losing money, even though being tied, to like slightly being up money on the day. So one of the nice parts about not playing for huge money some days, if you don't love something, you can just sit there and enjoy it as opposed to being stressed about it.
That's big.
Right? Because I enjoyed that part of it. I was laughing when Thies got the rebound as opposed to like being like, my life's over.
Yeah. I know both those feelings.
I'm sure that you do. I don't know. Here's the problem with captaining a stud today is it really forces you to make some bad plays. The other thing is, though, there isn't anybody else that I want to captain. So for me, it is between AD and LeBron James today. And I get the arguments for both. I love all your points for LeBron. I'm not usually an AD guy, but I actually like him today more than normal.
Honestly, like if you think then like the one guy I could see captaining, I mean, you're less than inspired about it, is your Gary Harris call. If you could fit like the other four guys there.
Yeah, that is a risky proposition. I could do LeBron Davis and Jokic then.
You still can't get Murray though.
Nope, I can't get Murray, but if I go down to Monty Morris, then that allows me then pay up to Dwight Howard.
I mean, I'm not interested in that.
Yeah, I'm not interested in this slate overall in general. I was looking over it a little bit before we got on here, and the only guys I really truly like are the three studs in Monty Morris for value. And even that doesn't really like, tickle your sack or anything like that to be super excited about.
For sure. And just so you guys know, these lines are moving on the matchup shop, so get on there.
Okay, guys. So again, I want the studs. I think you rank them LeBron, AD, Jokic. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm LeBron and AD as 1-1A Jokic. Last game, I said Jokic was a priority for me out of the three of them. We were able to get all of them in there. It didn't work. One other guy I want to bring up that we talked about last game, and he got the DNP, and could easily be a DNP again, is PJ Dozier. So he played on the blowout run in the first game. In the second game, they were looking for a spark, and they played him for his defensive prowess. And then the third game, because they were winning and they didn't need that, they didn't play him at all. He was 50% owned last time and got a 0. I have to assume that 50% drops to like 5% because he did everybody dirty and got the 0. It's possible he gets back in there today. I don't want to bet big money on it, but you can take a 0 at 1K and still finish in the money. I was just out of the money last time with him. Now, granted, the ownership was probably a lot different, but at $1,000, you can eat a 0 and pray for the upside if it means you can get all three studs.
Yeah, definitely. No doubt about that. And it's a scenario where the Lakers win handily. He probably plays some fourth quarter minutes, if nothing else.
Yeah, absolutely. We didn't really mention Torrey Craig. He's another potential pay down option, but he's so uninspiring. I can't really envision a scenario where I play him.
Agreed.
I'd almost rather go with Plumlee, who doesn't play a lot, but at least owns upside, because Jokic is a guy who gets into foul trouble.
Yeah, this is true. Anyone can get into foul trouble against AD also.
Right, and you also mentioned, like, if you feel like you get that game one vibe, then Mason Plumlee had a really good game one, because he got to run most of the fourth quarter.
Sure did.
So that's the way I look at it. It's not a great slate. It's not one. I might actually literally skip this one and just watch football and baseball tonight.
Yeah, I can never argue that, so I won't argue it right now.
You guys know I'm still playing, though, right? Like, you know that. We know how we all are, right?
I don't know if I'm going to play DK Showdown, NBA, or NFL, because I don't love the Showdowns, and now this overlay matchup shop, I don't need the action.
Plus, you still get your baseball for a few more days.
Exactly.
All right, guys. Sorry to be off the ward a little bit today, but we got a lot of sports to cover, so we thought we'd throw this out here for everybody. Best of luck, and we'll see you guys tomorrow for more sports.
Thanks, guys.